What other lessons have you taken from your work with horses over the years that are applicable for all of us as we deal with each other and parents trying to teach their kids?
Yeah, there's so many. I mean, horses are a good example of what we think about ourselves because they reflect it. You know, they tell on us, they know our secrets. And so it's very interesting. But I'll give you one really cool example of personal responsibility and taking ownership of ourselves. And this is how horses demonstrate it. So, in feral horses or wild horses operate out in the wild in groups, okay? And they're a prey animal, and so their safety is in a group. And younger horses, and sometimes they do things that they break the rules of the group. The horses in the group are like, hey, we don't do that here. And so what they do is they run them off. They physically push them away, they isolate them away from the group. And they do this, I mean, they'll threaten to kick them, they'll bite at them, they'll gang up together and they'll push them away and they won't let them come back.
Hmm.
Okay. Now, this horse who broke the rules, he's in danger. He has put himself at risk, his life at risk,
Yeah.
because of all the predators and how the world works. And so he doesn't have the safety of the group. So he's sitting over there. Now, let me just tell you some things. I don't know what's inside of his head, but I can tell you what's not inside of his head. What's not inside of his head is, hey, man, I didn't know the rules. Those jerks, nobody explained them to me fairly, or they were unfair to me, or I don't like the way they treated me, or all the myriad of excuses that he could come up with and complain and have pity about his station while he's sitting over there at risk of living,
Yeah, so he's not
dying.
seeing himself as a victim and he's not blaming anybody else. He's not looking for external causes.
He's not thinking that way.
Yeah, yeah, right, right.
He thinks one way.
Hmm.
He thinks, how do I get back to safety? How do I get back to the group?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. And so it's interesting how horses do that. Horses come to the edge of the group. And what I mean is they come up to say 100 feet from the rest of the horses. And what they do is they put their head very low to the ground. I mean, within 6 inches, a foot of the ground. They put their head down and they kind of walk a straight line back and forth with their head down. Sometimes they do a licking and chewing motion and they're not eating anything,
Hmm.
right? And these signals to the leaders, the older mares of the herd, that, hey, man, I'm sorry and I'm willing to do whatever it takes. Let me back in. I'm with you. I got it, you know? And so he does that until they signal to him, come back in, and it's over. This whole process sometimes can take less than, just minutes,
Hmm.
right? Because that horse, he does not sit over there and sulk. He does not. He's like, okay. And of course, and you can see the lesson, right? It's a perfect example of us.
Yeah.
When the key here is like when everything goes wrong, my first inclination is going to be to say, well, this and that and the other, and go
Yep.
down all these paths that are
Yep.
not helpful. When the only thing that really matters in this situation is one question: what can I do?
That's a cool lesson because if parents can sort of recognize that, they can be looking for those things and then use that as opportunities for kind of ongoing teaching, I think.
Yeah, yep, for sure.
If parents do have some kids that they feel like they might be struggling, whether that's with, depression or they're acting up a lot in a way that seems not right, or all of a sudden their grades are falling, or they're having some anxiety and stress. What's one of the most important things parents can do if they're seeing those things?
I'm going to give you an unconventional answer that I fully believe is to be the best answer, and that is to do just like the horse. Instead of focusing on what's not happening with the kid, the first place to look is right here. Right here. Hard as it might be, is to take a critical look at yourself and say, how am I coming out as a parent? Am I demonstrating all of the things that I want to? Am I showing up like the confident, loving, patient leader that I want to be? If you're willing to take an honest look, you're going to find something that you're going to do that you can do. Okay.
Yeah,
And if you're willing to do that, it's going to have an impact. I'm not saying that there's nothing to be done over there. That's not what I'm saying. I'm
sure.
saying that I, honest to God, believe that the best place, in the first place, that is going to have the biggest impact is if you begin right here.
Start with yourself. Yeah. Thanks for watching. If you want to listen to more of this conversation, you can watch complete episodes of the FI for Kids podcast right here at YouTube. Just hit subscribe and you'll get new episodes in your feed every Thursday.